Adventure Time is special for more than a few reasons, but there's an aspect of the show that doesn't get nearly as much love as it should. Yeah, that's right, the title cards. It only makes sense people don't really pay attention to them because they're blink and you miss it moments, and they barely contribute to the episode's story. But the fact of the matter is that Adventure Time title cards are art. Each and every one is an absolute treat to look at, and you could spend so much time searching them for some crazy details you didn't notice before. There is so much love poured into these, and we have to appreciate what the artist made. There's something you'd realize as Adventure Time progressed, and the new episodes kept on coming. Those who paid close attention to the title cards would notice how there's this special filter that completely changes depending on the type of story. Let's take a look at a few examples and try to figure out the ups and downs. Why were some title cards completely normal, while others descended into absolute madness? It's probably fitting to start with Slumber Party Panic. While it isn't anywhere near the most memorable storyline by any means, it's still important because it's the first time we were officially introduced to Finn and Jake, along with the Land of Oo. You'll realize that the old-timey filter is here right away. There are rips on the sides, and also some minor splashes of a substance to show how old this really is. It works as a parody of classic horror posters, and I think it does the job pretty well, considering the episode is all about zombies. Diving into some of the other Season 1 title cards, most of them follow a similar formula. You'll notice the same types of rips and cracks in the photo, and there were set templates consistently used over and over again to replicate the post-apocalyptic feeling. But as the series continued on, things would change. Death in Bloom showed Finn and Jake, well, dead. This show wasn't afraid to get dark and show their younger audiences cards like this, but I still love it. This was also a massive hint for things to come, especially when we're talking title cards. Mortal Folly is one of the biggest examples of Adventure Time heading into uncharted territory, with the lives of our heroes in grave danger. Fun quests and dancing usually happens with the show, but this is when things got real. The card puts this massive explosion right at the center, taking over pretty much the entire screen. Our heroes of Finn and Jake are barely even noticeable here. The dark atmosphere is bleak. It doesn't seem to give any sign of hope. Mortal Recoil instead puts some of our favorite characters in the spotlight, but they're looking with sadness at a grave. It's devastating, and the rainy effect makes it clear that this isn't the normal Adventure Time storyline. The card also isn't in the best condition, with this filter of the sides fading away, much like the very innocence of the series. Season 3 kicked off with Conquest of Cuteness, a massive step back from the norm for Adventure Time title cards. This was bright and featured sparkles everywhere. There were no indications this would turn out badly. It's one of the best examples of a card that shows how positive an episode can be, but let's head over to the other side of the spectrum. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the title card for I Remember You, one of the show's most beloved episodes for all the sad reasons. This gave us an in-depth look at the hidden backstory between Marceline and Ice King. It was the reflection of a man who's gone insane, and he doesn't know how to return to the previous life he led. Simon stares at a younger version of himself in the mirror, wondering if he could ever go back. A deeper look reveals that this is one of the cards in the worst condition. There are dots everywhere to show how much time has passed, which seems very much like the long amount of time Simon hasn't been his original self. You'll also notice a dent in the top right, while paper is crumpled up in the bottom right. It's all here as a reminder for Simon's tragic tale. The more ruined the title card is, the more likely you're in for an episode of depression. I think it's safe to say that The Lich is one of the darkest episodes in the entire series, and its title card only helps prove that point. With an extreme close-up of one of the most intimidating cartoon villains, we see every inch of detail in his grim face, from his rotting teeth to Finn and Jake being his pupils. It's like they're his pawns, and they have no choice but to follow in the path that he lays out for them. This looks absolutely terrifying, but it was able to set the mood for the episode and tell viewers that they had to grab a seat because what they were about to watch wasn't going to be the happy fun time adventures of Season 1.
I can make you live forever, anything you want. Just give me that book.
No more tricks!
Simon and Marcy further dives into the tragic backstory of these two characters, and the title card only shows Hambo lying in the snow. It's Marceline's beloved stuffed toy, given to her by Simon after the Mushroom War. The card is basic, but it still goes a long way in expressing the emotions of this storyline. It also features a very similar filter to the one from I Remember You, going out of its way to show the horrible condition things were in. You have ancient splotches over here, along with rips over there. As Adventure Time Season seasons kept pushing forward, episode title cards were vastly different depending on what the actual episode was about. Still, one of the main consistencies is the usage of dark colors, even in times when the episode story isn't that bad to begin with. You'd always get an ominous sort of feel to them, wondering what would happen, while getting kinda scared at the same time. These cards were almost always in awful condition, further cementing the idea that Ooh was not a very happy place. But beginning with season 6 onwards, something strange was happening. There would still be folds and cracks every once in a while, but nowhere near as much as some of the earlier seasons. It seemed like these title cards descended into madness in the middle of Adventure Time, but then slowly inched out of that despair. What exactly happened though? Why did the artists on the show decide to take a different direction with the art compared to everything before? I don't have an official answer, but my guess would probably be something within the actual show itself. The middle seasons dived into tragic pasts and dark stories, seemingly with no light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like a low point for the incredible characters we've been following, which could be why the title cards were in their most faded condition. Starting with season 6, there was a heavy focus and exploration into the land of Ooh, featuring many of the background characters and more positive aspects about this world. Finn began exploring a lot more about himself later on, diving into questions about his very own existence and what it really means to be the only living human. These seasons had some incredibly dark moments, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, they felt like a new chapter for everyone. These characters had gone through some of the worst moments in their lives and were ready to move on.
Whoa!
Look how bright Scamps is. Notice how we can see all the details in both the characters and backgrounds, how there aren't many tears or other things worsening the condition. The music hole's title card is filled with life. Finn approaches the mysterious brightness as the surrounding crowd cheers. It's just really happy. As the show approached its final season, these cards were more clear than they ever have been before. And then we get to the very last Adventure Time episode. Of course, this is a nice reference to the end credits theme song showing the butterflies and the bees, but there's so much hope to be found in just this one simple picture. Not only are extremely bright colors used to demonstrate how far we've come, but every little detail is well defined so that we notice the small stuff. You won't find a hint of ruin. Adventure Time title cards are jaw-dropping in their presentation alone, but looking back, it's easy to realize that they tell a story of their own. In the darkest of days, they're completely destroyed and not in as good of a condition as they could be. In the show's final few seasons, everything seemed to turn around for the better. It shows that even when you're living in the post-apocalypse and you're facing off against pure evil, there's always hope. That's hard to understand at first, but Come Along With Me has proven it. All the characters have been through madness, but they still made it out to tell the tale. We went from this to this. I think that says a lot. Even in a world of darkness, things are never as bad as they seem. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.